Thank you very much. I'll now move back to the item 3, public participation. Item 3.1, David Lynch of Momentous Public Relations regarding the regeneration of Cathedral Square. So, David, good to have you with us this morning. Welcome to the table. You have 5 minutes to present to us on your chosen subject.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. I should say that if there's an opportunity to go a little bit extra time, that would be appreciated. But I understand the rules, but you can suspend standing orders if you so see fit. But anyway, this deputation has been pulled together at very short notice as a consequence of a matter that appeared in the paper yesterday. It finally was written at 4 a.m. this morning, or started, and it involved a whole realm of other emails coming in to assist in terms of showing that what's presented has been widely canvassed amongst some reasonable good people in the CBD that have some concerns about certain matters around Cathedral Square. I do have a handout that I'll happily circulate.
Yep. This is already on the hub, but certainly we can circulate the hard copy handout as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What you actually have on the hub is actually the previous deputation that I made on the 10th of August, which I'll refer to. Anyway, thank you for this opportunity. I don't need to explain my background and my capacity in speaking to you. On the 10th of August, I did address you on what I considered at the time were fairly significant concerns with respect to how Regenerate was approaching the engagement over significant proposals and changes. I don't really want to go through all the details other than to say I think that with the passage of time we've learnt that Regenerate, as well intended as they were, they haven't got it right, and we're at a point, I believe, that we need to look at some change. So the purpose of this deputation is to set out some background to why this change is needed. For the most part, when I approached the council last time and Regenerate finally engaged with me, it would be fair to say that their responses were totally inadequate and effectively reaffirmed or validated the matters that were raised in my 10th of August submission or deputation to you. And it's interesting that the figure that Regenerate were reluctant to disclose about the proposal cost, which I sourced from a number of industry people that should know, of 60 million as being conservative, has never been challenged. And secondly, who's going to be paying for this? And as I said at the time, on the 10th of August, will be the ratepayers, has never been challenged. So in my professional capacity, I maintain an obvious watching brief on a lot of projects, and the Cathedral Square having made a deputation, I've kept an interest in that, as I have done with the Cathedral. And insofar as Regenerate's efforts are concerned, I believe that the less than satisfactory and complementary media coverage which they continue to receive is in fact a reflection of an organisation that has failed to deliver, and that it's time for critical change to be made. With the greatest respect to the Mayor's headline yesterday, I totally disagree with her quote. The planning agencies, which jointly are owned by the Crown and the City Council, is not or are not behind schedule. I would respectfully submit that it would appear that the statement which I am assuming is not one that is formally approved by the Council. As one prominent Christchurch businessman said to me, appears to be a political denial of the reality insofar as getting Cathedral Square in a situation where it should now be celebrating the decision of the Cathedral and not caught up in layers of bureaucracy and unnecessary delay. Furthermore, it's rather unfortunate that it would appear the Mayor's communication manager might have overlooked reminding her of the substantive concerns detailed in the Christchurch Press on the 22nd of December 2017, the headline being $900,000 spent on Cathedral Square, but building owners very disappointed. I don't want to labour on what that article pointed out. I've captured that for you to think about and reflect on what I'm going to suggest is an appropriate way forward to demonstrate leadership from this council in addressing the important historical hub of the city and recognising what really should be done right now, rather than a whole bunch of proposals that have not been, in my view, a substantive or substantial evaluation of costs and who will pay and whether or not it's achievable is actually feasible. In the short time available to prepare the submission, I have managed to canvass opinion from a number of clients, associates and the media in response to the Mayor's statement, with comments being one of surprise, one of bewilderment, one of disappointment, and some comments that it would be inappropriate to table here today.
Now that does bring us to the end of the 5 minutes, so if I could ask you just to make some closing comments to wrap this up. Thank you.
With the greatest respect in relation to Regenerate's performance, I think it's unhelpful, those sort of comments. It undermines the credibility of this council's endeavours to move forward and actually show it is committed to this recovery. I believe what this council needs to do is, as I have mentioned, the issues sadly reflect an organisation that isn't performing. With this in mind, I request that the City Council meets with the Honourable Megan Woods and resolves to instruct Regenerate to suspend their work on a regeneration plan for Cathedral Square for the following reasons. Cathedral Square will be a building site for the next 10 years. The Cathedral Act, as I understand, allows sections of Cathedral Square to be used as a builder's yard for the duration of the restoration. The Act has a precedence over the Regeneration Act. The amount of space required is yet to be determined, so it is not practical for Regenerate to plan when they are unaware of what is required. One might argue the council would start incremental work. However, with heavy construction vehicles in motion, this is likely to create some difficulties. The surrounding empty sites on the perimeter of Cathedral Square are and will soon be construction sites. Spark's new building is proceeding now. Otakaru are seeking aggressively interest in hotel development on spare land near the convention centre.
Now that does bring us to a minute over time, so I am going to need to bring this to a close now. So thank you very much indeed for the presentation. We've got the written handout, right, which certainly we can read afterwards, but thank you very much for coming along to join us and providing commentary this morning. Thank you. There is no opportunity for questions on these public forum participation pieces, but thank you, David, for joining us this morning. We'll now move on to